Hey guys, this is Angela Sasser, painter, fantasy artist, and mask maker of angelasasser.com. Thanks for joining me for my October update video. I love October because I get to be spooky. It's one of my favorite months, and I love autumn and this time of the year. And I really hope you guys did better than me because this was my Halloween costume for October. Yeah, if you did better than me, show me your costume down in comments. I would love to see that. Yeah, so October is also the month of pumpkin spice. I'm maybe sort of kind of like pumpkin spice. What? I don't have a problem. I promise. It's just a little bit. Just a little bit. A little bit of pumpkin spice. It'll never do anybody any harm. Yeah, it's fine. I promise I'm fine. Really. So without further ado, let's get to some of the art and the events that have been happening this month. I'm excited to share because it's been a really cool month. So one of the really exciting things that happened this month is that I got to participate in the inaugural course from Make Your Artwork with Stephanie Pui-Mun Law. And this course was called Kickstart Art, and it was how artists can use Kickstarter to kickstart their creative projects. And for those who don't know Stephanie Pui-Mun Law, she kickstarted this book, Descants and Cadences, and did really, really, really well with it. And she shared her knowledge on how best practices for Kickstarter, what to do before you even start your Kickstarter, what to even think about as far as promotion and just crunching the numbers. There's so much that I learned from this course that I'd highly, highly recommend it. And I think the best thing from this course is that there was real actionable advice for people to follow in regards to a plan for creating their own Kickstarter projects. And it wasn't just information. We also got to talk in Crowdcast with Stephanie and Mark Sheff and the other students who all have their own experiences with Kickstarter and crowdfunding. And there's also an attached Facebook group for the class, which will be in place for future generations of this class who will have access to the recordings and the Facebook group. So it was highly, highly worthwhile. I recommend it to my other creative friends, not just artists who are hoping to kickstart projects, because there's just so much that goes into Kickstarter. It's not just pressing the button and then boom, people fund your project. You have to get the word out. You have to make sure you're doing your math right, or you could spend more money on your project than you make. So yeah, definitely check out the Kickstart Art course at makeyourartwork.com, and I'll put a link in the description of the video. And so this leads in nicely to the next topic I had in mind, which was what did I learn from Stephanie's class? Because I had a particular experience with learning everything that she had to say about Kickstarter and realizing that I had been coming about it all wrong. I thought, oh, surely Kickstarter is great. I can kickstart all the things. Every project in my brain, I can bring it to life with Kickstarter. Yeah, no, it's not a good idea in my case because I have a lot of different ideas, and what I wasn't estimating in my timeline of projects is that it takes a lot of freaking energy to run a Kickstarter because you don't just press the button and go. You have to promote the project, you have to talk about the project, you have to engage people to lead up to the project. So in my case, I just have this bad habit of overestimating my energy levels for doing a bunch of things. So I just think, surely if I don't sleep or eat or spend time with my loved ones, I can get all these things on Kickstarter. That's what successful people do, right? We don't eat or sleep or spend time with people. Poof. No, that's the wrong attitude to have, and I'm trying to have more self-care and to be better going forward with what I want to do. So in my case, my solution is I'm going to have certain projects that are just going to be available online. I'm going to self-publish them, like the Angels coloring book that a lot of you have been asking about. that's going to be self-published on Amazon CreateSpace, and I got to put that together soon once I get the time after the ladies are finished. And Kickstart the things which are relevant to me right now as an artist. The ladies of the months right now is what I'm passionate about. It's what's current. The older artwork, I don't vogue with it as much anymore, so it's, in my opinion, not worth putting in the extra energy it would take to promote it on Kickstarter. It's still artwork that I love and I'm proud that I did it, but I've moved on from it, and I'd still like to make products available with some of that old artwork, like the coloring books, but it's just going to be there for you guys to buy. It's not going to be something I'm going to put on Kickstarter because I need to save that energy. I'm a one-person business, so I've got to make what I do, what I spend my energy on, count. And that is the biggest lesson I have for you today, is spend your energy wisely when you are a one-person business. And speaking of creative energies, now it's time for the art segment. Yes. So here's some of the art I've been working on this month. We've got the Ladies of the Months, the next entry in my Birthstone series. This past month, I've been working on the Lady of September, and here are some sneak peeks of her. She is equinox themed for the autumnal equinox that happens during September. She's got a lot of interesting themes that involve dark and light, and sun versus moon, and regret versus hope. So there are a lot of interesting themes going on with her right now. And these are mostly cropped in shots, so if you want the full reveal of all the work in progress shots I've been doing on her, plus a lot of my art notes about her folklore and the design process, you can head on over to Patreon, and just $1 pitched in there will give you access to my secret sketchbook where I've been talking about Lady of September and the process and thoughts and journey that I'm having with that painting. So check it out. It's really cool. I think you'll like it. This month I also briefly took part in Inktober, which is a monthly event for October where you're challenged to draw one ink drawing a day. And I only drew 6. Those of you who did 31 are insane, and you should feel insane. But I actually did have a lot of fun getting away from the computer for a bit to sit with my sketchbook and enjoy that tactile quality of paper that I really miss when I'm drawing digitally. So I had a lot of fun taking my ladies into a new format and trying to play with the symbols without the restrictions of the Art Nouveau style that I had to do in the main paintings. So it was really fun to see them as more letterhead compositions and to play more with their specific objects and symbols. Now I created these in sketch form first and then inked on top with a ballpoint pen and highlighted the images with white color pencil and a little bit of color accents with Prismacolor color pencil. Next up we have an art tease that I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's a really fun thing that I've been working on in secret for the past couple of months. So there's so much that I've had to keep under wraps that it's so hard not to share with you guys. But it's shiny and metallic, and the magpies amongst you are going to love it. So if you can guess what these early design sketchers are for, put it down in comments and I'll see if you got the guesses right. But these are early designs on a special item that is going to be available only for my Patreon patrons, and I'll have more on that soon. Or if you're a Patreon patron, you can go learn about it in the extended edition of this video that's going to be going up on Patreon. I'm spilling the beans in there, so if you want in on the secrets, you better go pledge on Patreon. Next we have a little fun diversion with Dungeons & Dragons art. It's the first sketch of my character, which is always a momentous event when you get that character out of your head and onto the paper. This is my Tiefling Warlock for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I wanted to play a mage, but like not have to memorize all the spells because I'm lazy. So Warlock was a great entry-level mage for me, so I can have like the cool abilities of being a magic caster, but the laziness of not having to remember as many spells as a sorcerer or a wizard. So she's cool. Anko is this really adorable, cute character who loves food and probably pumpkin spice as much as I do. She loves to cook, which I suck at cooking, so she's like my vicarious magical cook. And I wanted to play with the themes of a character who was both adorable and full of evil, magical, cosmic powers. So I think I've come to a really fun balance here of a character that's like cute and demonic at the same time. So I'll probably do another video about Anko because she's been a lot of fun, and I'm certainly going to be drawing her more just because I'm a big dork like that, and I always end up drawing the characters that I RP in tabletop games. So stay tuned for more of Anko. She's a lot of fun. Speaking of Patreon, I had a big reminder for everyone concerning Patreon. The gold foil prints of the Lady of Eternity, which are available via Patreon, are still available. There are only 100 of her that have been made in this series, and a few have already been given away to my Patreon patrons or sold via Patreon Secret Shop. Right now, you can actually get her for free if you pledge at $20 and up. She comes free in addition to the rewards that you will get at that level. So definitely go for her before she's gone, because when she's gone, she's gone. That's limited edition. If you pledge at lower levels, I'm also giving away things like magnets and postcards in addition to your standard rewards. So now's a great time to get in on my Patreon because I've got these gifts going. And I'll be giving away these gifts until the end of the year. Once the year ends and I finish all the paintings in the Ladies of the Month's Birthstone series, I will be putting these to be available only for the Secret Shop. So that means they won't come free anymore with your rewards. They will shift over to being only available in the Patreon Secret Shop where you'll have to buy them outright. And that's only accessible for people who are my Patreon patrons. So if you want these gifts by Christmas, you will need to pledge by November 30th, the last day of the month. So November 30th. Don't forget. Now it's time for the question and answer part of the video. These questions come from people just like you. So if you have a question about art, life, inspiration, whatever, leave it in the comments and I'll try to get to it. Now I've actually been getting a lot of great questions that I think I could do a whole video on because they're just topics that require a lot of discussion and have a lot of layers to them. So definitely stay tuned to this channel because I've got a lot of ideas now for answering some of those burning questions that are just too big to contain in this small little segment. But for now, let's answer some smaller questions. The first question for today is from Matthew, who asks, what do you like to read and who are your favorite authors? Oh no, that is a loaded question, Matthew, because you can't just pick one author. There are so many out there. And I have to say, I will always recommend Jacqueline Carey because I absolutely adore her book, Kushiel's Dart. It's got everything that I love, and it's got fallen angels, mythology, folklore, masquerades, beautiful people, female protagonists that are amazing, and characters of different races, and it's just the most amazing, gorgeous fantasy world, and it has this place in my heart because back in college when I first started reading it, I think it made me realize that's the kind of like fantasy art and storytelling I want to get into, like something that's mature and sensual and beautiful with amazing fashion. So I definitely recommend Jacqueline Carey for people who have that kind of taste in fantasy that I have, which is like more mature. And also, if to make a comparison that people will understand, Kushiel's Dart is like Game of Thrones, but except about the courtesans. So that it's that kind of mature story with politics and amazing characters. So I definitely recommend that. So while I love Jacqueline Carey, I feel like it'd be disingenuous for me to say that I read a lot of novels because I actually read way more comic books. I love comic books. It combines my favorite thing about art and my favorite thing about writing all together in one place. And I just have to recommend the comic Monstrous to you guys. It's an amazing comic written by Marjorie Liu and drawn by Sana Takeda, and it combines this gorgeous steampunk world with an Art Deco aesthetic and a post-apocalyptic Asian sort of theme to it. There are monsters and witches and like animal spirits and a really amazing female protagonist. And one of the inspirations that Marjorie stated she had was that she's Chinese American and her grandparents grew up in war-torn China. And she heard a lot of stories about their experiences dealing with the hardships of war and all the horrors that come along with it. And that she wanted to write a story about that will to survive. And she's done so masterfully. The comic's amazing. I devour every issue I get, pun intended, and I highly recommend it to anyone because it's great writing, great art, and I think proof that the art form of comics is really evolving and that we need to read more comics. So go check it out. I'll put a link to it in the description. So that's all the time I have to share today because this video is getting just a little bit long. But if you are a Patreon patron, stay tuned after the end of this video for extra footage for Patreons only. That includes a look into my Inktober tools, some of the equipment I've been using for videos, and other materials lists and fun bits and bobs. So I'd love it if you guys take a look at that and let me know what you think. And otherwise, thanks for joining me this month. I hope to see you next month. Wishing you all inspiration. What? I know it's supposed to go in coffee. Shh.
If you enjoy my art, be sure to check out my site at www.angelasasser.com for more. You can also sponsor me on Patreon, where you can join my artistic journey and receive exclusive sneak peeks and rewards. Thanks for watching. Wishing you all inspiration.